Hello everyone, I go by the name of MsNoBuntu, DIVAA, Divinely Inspired, Vibrantly Anointed Artist. And I wanted to come on here just to expound on a video that I released titled The Bold Point. I will attach it up here. And I just wanted to do a little bit of expounding because, I've just been thinking about it and all these thoughts started to occur in my mind about it. The bold point, B-O-L-D point. In the video that I first released, I likened it to the boiling point of water, where if you're trying to steep some tea, you need boiling water in order for the flavor, the infusion, the taste, the aroma that is in a tea to be released. I then equated that to a bold point, which I was saying in the video was a point where in order for you to be released and catapulted into what is for you, what is meant for you, there's a certain bold point that you need to reach, a bold point where you can either take it or leave it, bold point where you're not desperate, a bold point where you can speak up and stand up for yourself, a bold point where you're just not going to sell yourself out and sell yourself off in order to get an opportunity. So this is the kind of thing I was speaking about in the video. And so what I've been thinking subsequently, the thoughts that the Holy Spirit has just been bringing into my mind is, the bold point has a lot to do with is confidence. What I was actually describing in that video was confidence. The bold point is the point of high confidence, and not a point of high arrogance, but a point of unshakable, unbreakable confidence. That's what I understand the bold point to be. The thoughts that were coming through my mind were, how do I get to, how does one get to the bold point, and how have I gotten to the bold point, and just thoughts about how I could have gotten to the bold point earlier. And this message is more about, if you're a parent of young children, it's so important to instill confidence in your children from a young age, because then the things that are laid up in wait for the bold point can then happen so much more earlier, because that human being, that child, has the wherewithal in the realms of boldness to be able to meet the opportunity with a level of boldness, with a level of clarity, with a level of the kind of deep-seatedness that boldness allows you to stand with in the midst of, you could potentially be exploited, but you're bold, so you don't allow for that. You could be potentially, offered less than what you're worth, and you stand up for that, and you take most of what's on the table, etc. And so I was just thinking a lot about how it's so important, how instilling confidence from a young age, and actively and intentionally doing so into a young child, into a young mind, into a young spirit, into a young soul, is such a thing that is so important to do, and intentionally. And I look back and I think, man, some of the things that I could have had earlier, I'm only getting now because I had all this confidence gathering to work through, because what was instilled in me as a child was get an education. It was don't fall pregnant. It was pass and make us look good, don't shame us. It wasn't, let's instill boldness in you. Let's instill confidence in you. And if we ourselves don't know what that is, let's explore and research what confidence is, and how to model that, and how to cultivate and nurture that in a human being, and then do this with this young mind and this young heart and this young spirit, in such a way that the opportunities that we want them to get into and experience and eat the fruit of, they get to them quicker because they have boldness to stand out, boldness to speak up, boldness to stand apart. I remember one of the most important things that I ever heard anybody say was from a local pop star, Brenda Fassie. And I was watching one of those documentaries of her where they were kind of likening her to Madonna. And she said something that really struck a nerve with me and reverberated. She said, "Don't be shy or you'll lose a lot of opportunities." And that really struck a nerve with me. But I'm like, how do you work out not being shy? How do you work out not being reserved? And I was just thinking and looking back to how previous generation of our mothers really modeled this picture of reservation and quietness and a sense of dignity that was preserved and quiet and in the shadows, as opposed to a dignity that was bold and a dignity that was loud, a dignity that was vibrant, a dignity that was not necessarily about being shadowy, but a dignity that was about being in the foreground. And so I just wanted to expound on that a little bit and say, within yourself, if you're already an adult, look at ways in which you can nurture and cultivate confidence within yourself. Doing things that you haven't done before, going to places you haven't been before, doing things that you're afraid of doing is part of that journey. Doing things that you have doubts that you can do is part of that journey of really building and instilling confidence in yourself. It's not just about affirmations. It's really affirmations partnered with an active display, a practical display in a belief in yourself, to be able to be capable to do things and know things and be able to communicate yourself and be able to stand up for yourself and be able to represent yourself and be able to advocate for yourself. When I look at stars, when I look at celebrities, young people who made it at a young age, the factor wasn't that they could sing as well as they could 10 years into the game, or that they had great technique, or 10 years or 15 years into the game. What got them into the game was this level of confidence and boldness to be able to be as young as late teenagers, early 20s, and stand in the middle of a room full of execs, or stand and be somewhere and be able to express themselves in an unequivocal way, in an unquestioning way, in a non-doubting way about their gift. And that's why those people made it. When I study and look at the different people's stories and how they came to being quote unquote, discovered, I realized it was less about their talent. Yes, they have talent, but more about their boldness to be able to deliver to that moment of that opportunity that came up, and deliver and show up in a bold way and show up in a way that was convincing enough to be let in through the door. And I'm telling you, what I realize now is that it's less talent that gets you through the door, and it's more boldness that gets you in through the door. And there's a number of things that get you in through the door. You could be gifted with beauty and you're able to get into the door, but to maintain whatever you've been given, you have to really bring what is needed to the table. But there's different things that get you in through the door, and boldness and confidence is one of those things. And I just wanted to come and encourage you, if that was not done for you growing up. Encourage you, if you are already a parent, to really work on the cultivating actively and intentionally cultivating the boldness and the confidence of young people around you, whether it's your nieces or nephews, whether it's your own children, because then it means that they get to have a seat at the table so much more earlier on when opportunities come, because they show up as bold people, they show up as audacious people, which is convincing and which is what people need in order to be able to allow you to come into the room, sit at the table, have a voice at the table. That is all I wanted to share. I don't want to be long-winded. I will see you next time. I am interested in hearing what your thoughts are. So please comment down below and just let's talk about this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also share and call a friend to come over to watch this video and also watch the original video that this video stems from, which is from the Heat series called The Bold Point up here. I will see you again next time. Stay blessed and be blessed. Bye.